Hi, I'm Senator Martin Heinrich. Thank you so much for inviting me to share a few words with all of the attendees at this year's SolarPACES conference. It's only right that this conference is taking place in Albuquerque, where for decades now, the world-class scientists and engineers at Sandia's National Solar Thermal Test Facility have been conducting critical research and development work on nascent concentrating solar thermal power systems. These technologies offer promising solutions to major challenges, such as long-duration storage that goes well beyond the 4-hour window provided by conventional lithium-ion batteries. And if we're serious about fully decarbonizing our electricity power sector, we must look toward solutions like solar thermal power plants and thermal storage systems with CSP that can offer 24/7, pollution-free, flexible, and dispatchable power. The barriers to commercialization and widespread deployment, as has been the case for almost every single emerging energy technology, are in setting fair rules for market entry and attracting enough capital investment to drive down costs. That's why the R&D funding, the new investment tax credits, and the key policy reforms that Congress just passed in the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and in the Inflation Reduction Act are so important. We saw how this story can play out over the last decade and a half with solar, photovoltaics, and with wind. One of the first votes I ever took in Congress was to pass the wind and solar tax credits as part of the 2009 Recovery Act. Back then, many people questioned whether renewable generation would ever be able to compete with fossil energy sources on the open market. However, those tax credits and major shifts in consumer demand led to a sea change in private capital investment and market adoption. The costs of wind projects and PV solar installations have fallen even faster than the most optimistic predictions from a decade ago. And I am confident that with the right strategic vision and the help of the investments that we just passed in Congress, we can achieve similar results for other emerging clean energy industries. The infrastructure law established a new Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations within the Department of Energy that will support demonstration projects across a broad range of clean energy technologies. As part of this effort, I supported $505 million that will be specifically targeted for 4 grid-scale, long-duration energy storage demonstrations. I see these demonstrations as absolutely essential in getting good ideas out of research labs and into the field. We need to stop thinking in terms of only research and development. We need research, development, demonstration, and deployment. To spur that deployment in the Inflation Reduction Act that we just passed into law, I made sure that we included my proposal for a standalone investment tax credit for energy storage, including thermal storage. Under the new law, the full 30% ITC will be allowed to cover qualifying energy storage technologies across the board. This standalone tax credit should go a long way in helping us bring down the baseload cost of concentrated solar thermal power, in line with the Department of Energy Sunshot Initiative's goal of 5 cents per kilowatt hour by 2030. The Inflation Reduction Act will also allow regulated utilities that claim the standalone storage ITC to opt out of normalization. This should lower the upfront costs of building new storage projects. I expect that it will also translate into short-term cost savings that will be passed on to consumers and substantial long-term savings as utilities build a more resilient and reliable grid. Finally, the Inflation Reduction Act also supercharged the Department of Energy's Loan Program Office, which has played a key role in seeding funding and reducing the risks for innovative clean energy entrepreneurs. Despite all of these advances, we still have our work cut out for us in addressing key market barriers that continue to undervalue long-duration, dispatchable clean generation. Although FERC Order 841 made it clear that RTOs and ISOs must create a level playing field for storage technologies, there is still no obvious market entry path in wholesale markets for long-duration energy storage. The only viable way to monetize long-duration energy storage right now is through bilateral contracts. However, recent studies have found that the need for long-duration energy storage will grow substantially once we move closer to a 70 or 80% share of renewables on the grid. In the grid of the future, we need utility-scale generation and storage solutions that can fill the role previously played by fossil gas and coal-fired power plants in providing the grid with reliable and dispatchable power. As more of us electrify our vehicles and homes, we will also need these storage resources to meet the demand for distributed and dispatchable power. Thermal energy storage and CSB systems are obvious answers to questions about how utilities can best meet these new demands. There is increasing evidence that utilities are beginning to recognize the need for more storage projects. Just look at the announcement earlier this month that the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator is finally opening up its energy and operating reserve markets to storage resources, as was required by Order 841. But we need to do much more and more quickly to be prepared for the major demands that are inevitable. State utility regulators urgently need to establish rules that properly value the contributions that storage makes to resource adequacy and resiliency that are not effectively valued by the wholesale markets. In order to do so, utilities need to start using system planning models that appropriately quantify the value of storage, including long-duration storage, as a reliable capacity resource. We must also recognize that battery technologies, as critical as they are, cannot meet all of our large-scale, long-duration storage needs. That's why thermal storage projects with concentrated solar thermal power need to be fully developed. I should also say that there are many exciting applications for CSB that go well beyond the electric power sector. Nearly 3/4 of the energy required for energy-intensive and carbon-polluting industrial processes come in the form of heat. Concentrating solar thermal power could become an ideal source of high-temperature heat that can offset and even replace heat currently produced by burning fossil fuels. Earlier this year, New Mexicans were excited to learn about one small example of this concept when Sandia researcher Ken Armijo developed a roaster for our state's iconic green chili using concentrated solar thermal power from heliostat mirrors. All around New Mexico at this time of year, you can smell green chili peppers roasting in farmers markets and grocery store parking lots. But Sandia researchers have estimated that 7,800 metric tons of carbon dioxide are emitted every year when New Mexicans roast our chilies with propane burners. Not surprisingly, New Mexicans surveyed with taste tests found that they actually preferred solar roasted chili. Speaking for myself, I know that I would certainly rest easier knowing that my green chili came with zero emissions attached. But I will be even more excited when we can scale and commercialize this type of technology and bring down costs so it can provide at least one answer for a wide range of harder to decarbonize sectors. I know it's not concrete and steel, but in New Mexico, chili is always a priority. In addition, Sandia researchers are developing thermochemical processes to produce the ammonia that is used in most fertilizers with concentrating solar thermal power, air, and hydrogen rather than the current carbon-intensive process. There are also efforts underway to explore whether solar thermochemical water splitting might offer the best path forward for producing clean and sustainable hydrogen fuel for planes, trains, heavy ships, and other hard-to-electrify long-distance transportation. These are the technologies that we need to deploy if we want to meet our responsibility on climate. They can also power new and cleaner industries, create good-paying careers, improve people's daily lives. I would like to offer my sincere appreciation to each of you at this conference, whose work is contributing to the future success of concentrating solar power. I hope you will keep me informed about all of the exciting developments in this space, and you can count on me as your committed partner in building a cleaner, stronger, more resilient energy future. Thank you.